Still 5,000 gold lead for PSG. Yes, it's a little bit of a hiccup there with the Rumble being taken out, but it's not the biggest deal in the world. 3 items now for Maple. Sorelda's Grudge finished up, and you're building up towards a 3-item Aphelios as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like, you're kind of saying, hey, look, it feels like we're always having a run around the map to try and make plays happen. It feels kind of like the end of Cookie Mama level, where you're like, everything is on fire, we're just running around trying to manage whatever we can, and yes, the level ticked over, and they've managed to survive, but now it gets more difficult.
Well, that's a move like Vigil that doesn't really go anywhere. They're moving on to Junjin now. They're going to have to commit more ultimates here. Shockwave sombreros onto nothing, and now they can turn and burn back on. Gaseo's dead as well. You've no consistent DPS, R7. They thought they had found someone to kill off, but they end up losing almost everything in that fight, and that could just be the Baron straight up there.
Yeah, it 100% is. Immediately PSG are going to clear out this mid lane, start to push over towards the objective, and there's just nothing you can do. Again, here these ultimates have just not been connecting whatsoever.
No, not at all. And again, like, you're committing everything onto Junja. Again, like we mentioned earlier, it's a full tank Maokai. It's not really the priority target. Like, I just feel like they're again clutching at straws, looking for anything and everything that could possibly come out and give them some kind of an advantage as the tanks try their very darndest to kill this dragon as quick as they can. But I mean, trying to deal with a chase is hard enough with the poke, but now with a Baron, it's going to be insufferable.
Yeah, and I think, look, they were like, hey, look at Rumble bot lane, let's try and make the pick, let's 4v5 this. But Junjin, terrible spot. Miru not being able to connect with the ultimate there as well, and you're just so overextended trying to make this pick happen, but you just don't have the damage. I mean, again, Banshee's Veil on the Orianna, she's not really turning out the damage that you need to. The Xayah was set behind early despite a nice start. 0-3, like, where is your actual damage coming from to make these picks happen?
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is that once Sayo goes down, there is no other one else. Yes, the Orianna is very strong, but she relies so heavily on her combo. And again, PSG, rinse, repeat. There's no need to go for anything else. You just have to keep putting in on that ultimate. It'll be up in about a minute's time again, and then you do it again.
And again, they're all over the place. Like, look, Odie's trying to clear out mid-wave against Maple, whereas you kind of want him to be with the team. He's now going to get collapsed on as PSG come over.
Yeah, PSG going to look to maybe burn. Like, that's 1v1. Odie can't set up to this because he's only got a Radiant Virtue. He's pure HP. What's going to happen there? Like, you don't understand it. You don't really try. They're panicking, and it feels bad, but finally they look to try and make a play. But again, onto Junja, the tank. They're throwing everything in the kitchen sink at it, but now it's knock-ups into the charm. Sales already lost his Featherstorm. Can they try to burn this? But finally a good hook lands, but they've already got the stopwatch for Maple, so he can delay it. This is 4 versus 5. The Rumble isn't even here. The Rumble's not even looking to join. 4v5, and PSG are burning them down. Wacko goes forward, and they're all being taken out. Yes, the shockwave comes in onto one, but it's just
David to the up-and-coming Goliath of KHi I, he may be able to put the wind back in the sails of a region looking for a hero.
GAM versus Loud. For the first time in international history, the VCS and the CBLOL will be facing off. Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. I'm QuickShot, joined by Book and Raz. We are having a lot of fun today, and I'm expecting this to be a fun series. Not only is it the first time ever that these two regions are going to be going head-to-head, I think these are two regions that have won the hearts, won the minds of many Western viewers. Their performances in international events, both Loud and GAM, are going to be synonymous with every single international League of Legends viewer.
Yeah, it's incredible. Whenever you're doing prep on either of these regions, it feels like that fun from the crowd, from the players, it's infectious. Watching CBLOL specifically, every time Robos makes a play, it's just like, yeah, stands up from his seat and just lets the crowd know he's hyped.
Yeah, that was literally that 1v2. He played on Na against a Malphite and a Saya. He could have ended the game because the enemy team was at Baron trying to contest. He got too busy celebrating, recalled, then TP'd back and did end the game in the end. But it's just the fact that the game was prolonged 30 seconds because he wanted to celebrate.
Listen,
and that's the excitement we get that you usually only see in FPS, not so much in League.
Thing is though, while yes, I think in traditional sports in most countries, every single viewer, every single fan of every single game and every single sport in Brazil has that level of intensity and passion, right? It is just something that is synonymous with the region. Let's dive a bit deeper into the matchup, featured matchup rather, presented by Mercedes-Benz. We're going to start on the top lane. Let's talk about KHi I versus Robo. We just mentioned how excited, how hype he gets. What are you anticipating from the actual gameplay, Coolboard?
Yeah, well, I think KHi I is one of the best tops we have in play-ins as well. I could literally see him blind pick the Jax and just go full ham from laning facing forward. I kind of see him as a bin light in terms of what he does with the champions too. But Robo on the other side as well have some exciting picks that can be a bit reminiscent of the Adam as well, where we see the Olafs. Also very happy to play the Na and try and just gain pressure with a ranged top laner like this. But I think a lot of this individual matchup where it gets really exciting is in the top lane.
Yeah, and I feel like the stats do tell a very accurate story. KHi I gets the green light for a reason. He's ultra reliable. You talk to the coaches in that team and they're like, yes, like if you ask him to do something for you, he will give it to you. Robo on the other side, he's exciting in team fights, he brings it back, but in lane it's always a struggle, so I feel like for him, I need to see him play well up against a really tough matchup.
Also just as personalities, Robo is one of the winningest top laner in the CBLOL period. KHi I literally learned the original Vietnamese through League of Legends. Like his story is he dropped out of school because they were too poor and he had to help out the family. He then got really good at League, got a job through League, learned like actual Vietnamese through League too. And it's just an incredible story in the game as well. These are some of the biggest personalities that there is from the two regions as well. So absolute huge matchup in the top lane today. Let's
start with Robo very briefly because you mentioned it. Not only one of the most winningest, but for the organization, Loud are the first ever CBLOL team to have a three-peat. Back-to-back regional victories. Featuring Robo, of course, one of the main players, also coming to international events.
So yeah, Robo 1v2. This laning phase he had in this game was actually really terrible, but he just built Hullbreaker and just decided, I'm still going to 1v9 this game. Here he can end the game, celebrates, goes back with a recall while the enemy team is there fighting. Like he can just go and end the game with the minion wave coming through, TPs in after, but this is what I'm talking about. Like they feel the moment. You see how crowded this is from amount of region as well in the audience. There is just one of the biggest social media phenomenons as well in Loud. They have billions of views on YouTube too. They are a huge team, not just in League, but in Valorant as well. They are just one of the biggest Brazilians. They are the biggest Brazilian name.
Yeah, and I mean, they show it to you in team fights. You already saw like snippets of it, but in general, it's an action-packed team. You pray that they don't change the way they play the game in an international setting. That's what I hope for. Just because, like, it's just who they are. Tinons has been that guy, and so like they send a lot of resources in that direction. When team fights happen, they're all on the same page.
Now let's zoom out a little bit because, of course, when you do look at CBLOL historically, there's been streaky periods where one specific team, one specific organization will dominate. One or two splits in a row, and that has changed pretty regularly. Now Loud, the first team ever to go 3 titles in a row, starting to cement the legacy. The exact opposite is true for GAM. They have got themselves their 4th consecutive title. They have 8. They are by far the most dominant organization coming out of the VCS. They have changed their bot lane. GAM also, I think, have been on a slightly downward spiral, I think, from their very high highs after the VCS was unable to compete. So I think expectations will be high. They want to make a statement win today against Loud.
That's a great contrast. One team that solidified domestic dominance while GAM has already done that, and they're just hungry for international success, like any kind of movement. Like talking to the team, that's something that they've zeroed in on. Slater in particular actually won domestic titles in 2020 when they weren't able to come in international. So he's been more than hungry to show that he can do it. So I'm interested to see the change up in the bot lane and what it means for the rest of the squad.
Yeah, I think it was really curious. Slater has always been this really strong side AD carry as well, and as you mentioned, he was the COVID champion, so we never got to see him internationally.
Yeah.
He was still very good. The same goes for Palette. They actually brought Palette in just before playoffs to have a run with Palette and Slater because they're former bot lanes together, to have this pre-built synergy. When this roster was built, coming out of MSI, they lacked bot lane presence. So this time around, they got a strong side bot laner. The main problem GAM had, though, was actually then implementing, wait, we can't always play for KHi, who's this super god top laner. We also need to play for the bot lane now. And that's where we find most of GAM's struggles still. If they have found their identity and say, we will now play towards Slater, we know KHi is good enough, this becomes a very strong team.
I like the point that you made about Palette. The guy has been at Worlds. This is his 3rd appearance, right?
Yeah, back in 2018, so
Exactly.
it's been 4.5 years. It's been a while.
It's nice to have that level of experience from him. They've been pretty comfortable with him as a general shot caller and playmaker. I think that the changes they've made will help them for the better.
So let's talk a little bit now about the team's play styles. Here we're about 3.5 minutes away from picks and bans. Myself, Gulborg and Raz, well, rather, Gulborg and Raz will be doing picks and bans. I'll be here to read you some fun stats. Let's talk about their play styles, because I think when you do look at Loud and GAM, I think both of these teams share some similarities. Aggression, they do look for kills. I don't think they have the most control, so to speak, right? Sometimes the fights are a bit messy. I think especially when you look at how many kills they concede versus how many they secure. So I think there is the potential for a bit of bloody laning phase.
Yeah, I mean, this one goes out to Twitch chat. They literally already have a meme about Croc and CPLOL if he does good is yep Croc, and if he does well in the early, bad in the early game, it's nope Croc, because so much of Loud's some of their early games is so decided by Croc. And also in contrast, Levi, of course, who's one of the biggest name of GAM we haven't even talked about, is such an efficient jungler. My main problem with that is sometimes he gets too efficient, where it's like, this full clear is really good, I'm gonna get so ahead of the enemy jungler, but it's also like, you could have skipped the camps and gotten one of your laners ahead, so that creates a bit of a predictability. But looking at the junglers in the early games that have an influence on some of the lanes we've talked about will be a good indicator, because even if the early game is completely controlled by one team, it's going to be all about late game team fights later on.
1,000%. I think everybody that looks at specifically this jungler here, as you can see in front of you, like I want to see what style of which he's playing. We saw J4 coming out earlier on in the tournament, but what we've seen when they faced top esports at Worlds, he picked up the Karthus and like rained terror. So I am excited to see what style of play he goes for. I personally want to see that slow pace in game and just allowing him the ability to farm. That's what I'm excited about. Something, if I look at the side of Loud, it's super chaotic in the laning phase. You mentioned the solo deaths that we got from Robos in lane, the poor performances there, but Root and Seo just are dominant in their own laning phase. So they're getting solo kills on the bot side of the map, so of course that's domestically. I just want to see if they can translate that to this international stage.
Yeah, and that's why, as a viewer, watching this game, I really want to put this in your brain. If the early game happens and Loud just falls completely behind, that's pretty much an average Loud game for you. They win by their team fighting. They're the kind of team that when their back's against the wall, it's not about the macro, it's just about taking fights. Did it work? No, we'll take another fight. Did it work? We'll take another fight. And then eventually one of these fights, because of their good team fighting, will work out for them. So even if the laning phase is not there, they have an incredible skillful prowess in some of the team fights.
And one thing that I've noted from their recent performances is that I think their vision control got better, Loud, around objectives, because they know that that's how they're winning games. So they essentially at least have a good idea how to set up for objectives before it actually starts. That's something that I didn't see when they first came to an international stage, but through their 3P getting onto the stage now, I think that is where their strengths lie.
So let's find out a little bit more about these bottom lanes in as well. I know, Gulborg, you're talking a little bit about the fact that Saito starting in the bottom lane over Palette a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about like what adaptations we want to see coming out of that, and also looking at Root and Seos and their approach to laning phase.
I think Root and Seos laning phase at time can be a bit messy, where one of them will drop a random death. But I don't think that GAM necessarily will be able to punish this as much as they could have. I was a bit sad that GAM had to send 3 of their players to the Asia Games, because the main problem they had coming out of the regular season and winning VCS was that they weren't always as good at incorporating Slater. At times when you watch the games, it feels like these are really good form members, and then Slater is just an AD carry you've slotted in, but the fights are not always played for him. And I think had they had extra practice, then I think Levi would have been able to adapt more to a jungle playstyle where you skip camps, you can bot lane more, you try and expose some of the mistakes that we see from Root and Seos. But with the lack of practice, it wouldn't even surprise me to see that Loud would actually take today, like 2-1 or something like that.
I mean, that's what we have to find out, right? What form do they come into this game with? Just quick update for everybody at home as well as my analysts. We are just getting up on stage for the players to walk. Can be introduced to LOL Park in Seoul, South Korea. While we're waiting for those players to be introduced, I'm going to come to you, Raz, and say, like, you know, what would your expectations be for the form, for the teamwork, the cohesion that you're going to see out of the squad like GAM because of the Asia Games and because of the additional challenges faced from them?
I think at least in game one, we're going to be. We've already seen nerves earlier today in their first game, and without having that much time to practice, I think that's going to hurt them. So I agree with you. I think at least my focus would be towards KHi, because KHi has been someone who's been a bit of a glue. He's had some weird picks in general, but he's been known as domestically strong glue, being able to play through KHi and also their jungler. And I just do want to see him play through Levi comfortably. If we can see that, all of my concerns are washed, and I think they're going to be heavy favorites.
I'm going to do something quite spicy just ahead of this. Who's going to win? What's the score going to be, and why?
Ooh, I think two. You go first.
Okay, I think Loud wins. I think they win 2-1. I think they have the extra prep and practice. Well, and then the bot lane, if Slater's not incorporated into the team, I think Root has just been better at playing team fights and Loud as a general glue together later on.
Can I jump in? So you're going 2-1 Loud,
yes,
but you're 60-40, 65-35, like, you wouldn't be that surprised if GAM stepped up? Like,
oh, absolutely not.
Okay,
I think GAM has the potential. I just think that
Close
they didn't have
2-1.
time to reach the potential. Even speaking to casters as well of the regions, then it's like the Brazilian casters
I'm going to get Raz's
feeling
prediction.
hopeful.
Because if you look behind you, I think the players are just about getting... So I need your prediction before we meet them. It's going to be a little bit more fun before we go to draft.
I actually go 2-1 in the opposite direction for GAM.
I mean, give me some reasons, because I don't actually know when we're going to throw. Why will GAM win? Other than spiciness.
Superior players, I think KHi, specifically Levi and KHi are just incredible.
Oh, we have
strong.
2 minutes, so we don't have to rush.
Okay, nice. Great. I can talk a little bit more. I think they're a lot more flexible through topside. I think something that Loud really lack is when they get into the mid game, they tend to drop waves on side lanes for the fights. And as long as GAM just take a much slower game pace, that Levi will be ahead of the pace, and we're going to look at KHi playing a lot more of an aggressive nature. And Robo's
okay, so listen. I've just heard from producers, because we're going to have a minute and a half. I'm actually going to ask Oshin and Dagda to evaluate the predictions. I don't need you to predict. You're going to be casting this game, so you're comfortable shot. But what do you think of my analyst opinions?
We get to wreck them. We get to wreck these guys.
Go on, boys. What you got?
So I think Goldberg's being a coward and covering all his bases.
Agreed.
And I think Raz is correct. That's my opinion.
I completely disagree. I think GB is correct that it's going to be Loud win. I think it's going to be a 2-0.
bias. That's LEC bias.
You know what I like that? But hang on, gents. What I do like though,
bias. I think CB Law is just
LEC bias.
What I do like though is I think because there is a bit of split. Like this series could go either way. We don't 100% know what to expect from the teams. You know. So I mean, because we've been talking a lot, Oshin, Dagda, what would you want to say for your pre-match?
Wow.
I think the big
is that a bus coming right now? Wow. No, I mean, to be honest with you, it is exceptionally close though. But I still think that the VCS have yet to show us their full potential.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem that I see with it, is that, like, I think for CB Law, they're very consistently after 20 minutes. I think for GAM, I don't think they set up well for early Rift Heralds in that correctly, so I think that's where they're not going to be able to get enough of a lead in the early stages to try and snowball that before Loud are able to come back in the later stages. And also I think the meta is just shifting into Tino's territory. Like, favorite champion Syndra, he didn't play a single game of Tristana the entire way through, and now that's out the window, so that only helps them, right? So honestly, I think they're in a fantastic spot. I think Loud 2-0, easy goes.
That's enough talking from us. We're going to send it back to the analysts so they can talk a bit more about it.
I apologize, Oshin and Dagda. My brain just froze, dude. I didn't have a question, so yes, I did.
Casters, how would you have done my pre-match?
We can see the players walking on stage right now. Translations on the subtitles up this time around. I'm very happy about. A little bit of support there in LOL Park. Let's go GAM. Gulborg, give me some players. Who do you think is going to be prioritized in draft here? Were you surprised at all? We've seen 2 best ofs. Well, I guess we'll let the introductions play out and then we'll get back to pre-match. Oh, there we go. And just missed the beginning of that one. Obviously, that'll be taken to stage. But yeah, I'll come back to this one.
To go back to your question here, I think Dagda really hit the nail on the head there as well, talking about some of these control mages for Tinons. That's going to be pivotal. I think that GAM needs to be careful of a potential Poppy coming out from Croc as well. One of his best facilitating picks, and it stops a lot of what Levi would want to do. The most pivotal champion in pretty much all of the minor regions as an AD carry was Saya, and that's because so much of these team fights are decided by, well, the team fights itself. So having an AD carry that has self-heal just makes it infinitely easier. If you see an AD carry that is Saya in one of the minor regions, you can already up their win percentage by almost 10% by doing that.
I mean, listen to this. Slater went 8-3 on the champion route, went 6-2. Both of them second most played, high win ratios on those champions as well.
And I would love to see some counter pick priority for Tinons. In the finals, I love the fact that he is moving towards like Xerath as a counter pick towards Azir. It's been seen a little bit here and there, not so much success globally, but it just showcases for how long of a career that he's had, the confidence that he has to go towards counter picks that maybe he hasn't played as much recently, because he's picked it probably 2 to 3 years before that.
Now, the other challenge, or the other question I have for you is, what do you think Levi's going to play? When you do look at the most played champions across the board, you can add 2 players on a team up and they play less individual champions than Levi has played. He's wild, he's wacky. He could go standard, he also could go out there, right? So I'm intrigued to see what he's bringing back both from PSG games as well as performance here with the rest of the squad.
First things first, Lee Sin's been banned too many times. He is the Lee Sin god. I would love to see Lee Sin. But if we move past that, if he gets banned once more, then I'd go towards J4 and Sejuani just because he's also a pretty damn good engager, and for how often they team fight, they need him to be on that.
Yeah, and you know, historically, one of the main champions Levi got known for as well was his Nocturne. Nocturne's been a great champion as well, paired up with Nico so many times where we've seen them go Nocturne ultimate. I have no idea where anyone is coming from. It is a normal minion. This is an actual Nico coming through, and that's great at creating chaos and something that they've been doing as well.
You know what's a great comp that's been coming up that we haven't seen so far? With Nocturne, Cannon, TP, flank, those type of things that have torn teams
Freak
apart.
is so happy right now.
Yes, he's loving it, and I think that would be a great composition for them.
And I know there's a guy out there probably screaming about Wukong's Levi's most played champion as well. It's one of his signature, and it really is. But I'm doubtful at how well the Wukong's now going to perform. But I mean, Levi's still been willing to pick it after the nerfs, but I'm not hopeful of seeing it.
That's why I'm just intrigued, right? It's just when I do look at all 10 players on the Rift, it is Levi the one that I'm the most inclined to think would be willing to do something a bit out there, or a little bit different, a little bit against the grain, right?
Yeah.
Levi's never gone bit like super crazy, but obviously you can see the players, they are setting up on stage. And earlier today we were talking about how we really wanted to have like a little bit of extra time to set up the match intro. We've really got a lot of time.
To think this through.
GAM, I think we're on blue side if I remember correctly, right? So Loud being on red. In terms of the strategy, Loud on blue. Thank you for that one. Correction. Okay, so my notes are wrong here. In terms of like the approach to the draft then and players you want to target, who do you shut down? Yes, we are loading into draft. Let's go. So Raz, Gulborg, it's all on you boys.
Well, the Poppy's already coming through here, and I think that's a great ban. By seeing a Poppy ban, you also have to think about a Lee Sin ban as well. And I think they've actually done a lot of research here. The Jax being banned away, that was one of my main win conditions with GAM, was just saying, hey, if KHi just blind picked in, I don't see Robo winning a single matchup into it. So I think they're prioritizing a lot of the right target bans leading into the first draft.
With Seos and Palette, I would expect Rakan to be a pretty high priority. Maokai ban is already a good one that's paired up well with Rakan. I don't expect it to be first pick, but I think GAM will look for a 1-2 on Rakan. It's just been so good so far. Xayah Rakan has been the standard, so I want to see if the response from Loud is there.
Open as well.
I mean, I'm so ready for this to either be like a side ban, but if you ban side, then Lee Sin, I don't think Lee Sin will be blind pick, but I could easily see GAM go for it on a 1-2. Jarvan also still available. Saw Junji play that earlier. And no, it's also going to be a target ban on Robo there. Of course, we mentioned it earlier. He plays a lot of Olaf. But there's a lot of OPs open for you and available here. We've not seen too many games just yet, so it's hard to grasp really what makes or breaks these first picks.
The one thing we have seen across all 3 series, and this is obvious, like as old as League of Legends has been, Renekton has still been very high priority phase 1 in terms of the picks, but I am liking to see, or interested to see how this Orianna continues to develop throughout the rest of the series. And now GAM, where do they go? Like you mentioned, Lee Sin is open, Jarvan is open, Xayah is open.
I would expect something like a Kennen, maybe picked a little later on. Orianna has been the pick that we've seen a little bit dominate just yesterday.
But we're expecting it to feature a lot more as well.
Exactly, and it's moving up in priority. Earlier on, we're seeing it be picked on 4-5 or something to that nature, but now we'd be seeing it just as a straight-up blind. Makes sense here for KHi, and it's a good setup or a ball delivery system for whatever Levi wants to pick. So just great overall follow-up engage. But to hit on the Renekton a little more, with Loud's priority around Rift Herald, that's just going to be my focus. I want to see what Robo is able to do in early Rift Herald fights with that.
Yeah, I really think that Xayah pickup was very important. Had you not picked Xayah, I'm expecting a Syndra to come through from Tinons here. They could have probably picked it with a Syndra Xayah rotation. Now you don't really have to look for that. But Root's been a scary Kai'Sa too. So it wouldn't surprise me to just see Syndra Kai'Sa come through while you still have the availability of picking these champions before they get banned in the second ban phase.
I mean, that Kai'Sa is Root's most played champion. 10 games this summer, 8-2 on the particular champion. And wonder whether or not we're going to end up seeing this Orianna Azir matchup a whole lot. Is something we were theorizing coming into the tournament, something Tinons has played as well.
Azir's fantastic into the Xayah, so that's an expectation that I have. Also, I'm expecting a Nautilus to be picked up on the side of GAM, so it'd be a good way of disengaging if that's the pick. But the point that you already made, Kai'Sa looks already getting lucky.
Yeah, and you can just look at this right now, that Nautilus would be a great pickup right now to just counter the bot lane if you're looking for it. But you also have to make the cognizant decision now saying, do I actually want that Levi Lee Sin? Do I want them on a carry right now? I don't think it has to be a priority just because the jungle pool is still as big as it is, but the support pool will be slimmer and slimmer. So I think the Nautilus will be the best pickup here.
All right, already an interesting... just taking a look at the first phase right now, do love the Kai'Sa being picked up for Root, just how well he's been playing domestically. Just giving him the power for an engage. If, let's say, Robo finds a nice stun, or a pick being made by Rakan here for Root, Seosh, like, I think putting the power into Root's hands is the way to go.
And listen, anybody who's watching...
Nocturne ban coming through as well. I was really curious to see that K'Sante got banned. Most of the time, Renekton are happy about that matchup. He gains lane power, not to do much with it. Just gets played for himself. He slowly but surely builds up a gold lead, but it also means that they are scared a bit of KHi. Another champion that KHi could play that's just straight up not a carry could be an Ornn here. We've seen it multiple times, and so many times these games as well have been dictated by the team fight. But no, it is actually going to be that respect paid to Levi. I was wondering if Croc was looking for it himself in case they would not fourth pick it, but for now, jungle pool still very wide and open. That J4, as we've talked about, is available, and it would actually be good for Croc just against Xayah.
Do something fun. I want Levi to do something fun. I'm expecting the J4, I just want something more fun.
Ooh.
Might get it.
I like the Rumble Hover here. Even though you have a lot of AP already within the composition, pick up a Void Staff. That's a really good bully.
Do you think Levi runs at the jungle? I mean, I'm expecting that top lane, right? But,
yes.
Like... I don't know, I've got the tingle. Nevertheless, it's locked in. Right, now we're going to find out from Loud how they're going to round out their composition. Does Tinons go for that Jace? Obviously play that poke options. What is Croc going to be running in jungle himself? So
I mean, I would just be happy with a J4 Syndra rotation here. Like, J4's super good into side due to the fact that you can go for the combo with your EQ, then she ults, and when she then ults, well, you just ult her yourself, and then she's stuck in there. She does not have a dash. It's going to be a classic, though, from Tinons as well. As I said, they've played a lot of Nico, too. I think Syndra could have been just as good into the Ori. You kind of force her to buy the Merc Treads. There's not too much Merc Tread value just yet, well, outside of all the champions so far. And pairing this up with J4 gives you very scary team fighting.
It's funny. So in the first phase, when we talked about Nautilus as a pick going into Rakan, yeah, great in isolation. But now you're looking at the comp as a whole. Really tough for Nautilus to try and take fights into Nico and Rakan. If a fight were to happen, he's just... I know we talk about him as an int champion. That's going to be a lot of ints if the fight doesn't look great from the get-go. So Jarvan being a hover, just cook him up in the hot pot.
Talk to me about this Viego. My eyebrows. I haven't seen him play this summer.
I mean, it's just like I often see the Viego. I don't think he's as good as these teams value them to be. So much of it happens in the team fight, not so much in the early game. It's not been where Loud has found their true strength. Another thing is, you've just created an insane scary wombo combo on the enemy team. That's a Jarvan with an Orianna that gets a couple with the ball. They all go into the mean grind, and then all of a sudden they're getting grilled by an Equalizer on top of them, and the team fight just looks insane for GAM.
Yeah, I'm completely aligned with you. I like GAM's composition. The dive from Loud is not really that threatening as long as Slater is able to, of course, we'll have Flash, of course, we'll have ulti. There are a lot of ways for him to get out of the situation, and it's just a very simple wombo combo off J4 ulti, Rumble ulti, Orianna. Like, there's a lot for GAM to just flip the switch and take the fight.
I'm over the moon that we got a lot of time to introduce these teams to talk about the compositions. I've heard your predictions already. Now you've seen the draft. I'll give you an opportunity to change. Who wins game one?
I actually think GAM is looking really good here.
Yeah!
Yeah,
you do, huh?
Yeah, Yeah, well, they got the Saya. I said that already up it with 10% of the win percentage. They have a Rumble. They get J5. They have Ori. I think on this patch, that's just some of the best OPs you can have.
So Raz, you're just gloating here. You happy with this as well?
Yes,
yeah,
I am.
Game
Thank
one?
you very much. I expected it. The draft makes it a little easier.
All right, that does it. Thank you so much. Thank you for your patience, everybody at home. We're about to jump over the Costas. Oh, Dagdo, Sheik, give me a high five. Bring your head to the camera. There we go. Hey, there we go. Boom. You guys.
Yes! Yes! Thank you so much, guys. That was terrible. Yeah, we had a whole thing set up. It was like, oh, let's do like a movement thing, and it was like, not in this suit, not a chance.
Just slap all the hands.
Slap all the hands. Everyone go in. But the teams are locked and loaded, and we are kind of figuring themselves out, kind of seeing where these two teams want to go for. This is their first game here at Worlds 2023, and again, probably for the first time in a very long time, Loud are coming in as a pretty hot and pretty kind of favored in these things. But as they say on the desk, this draft is going to be difficult.
You just said you don't favor Loud.
No, I don't. I said most people do. I said the perception was I prefer GAM. You will not twist my words.
Well, Loud already trying to see if they can get KHi here. Good sidestep.
Nice sidestep. A little bit of damage. Should be fine. No real CC. If you start with the CC on the Renekton level 1, you're not going to have a fun time.
Yeah, also, I mean, with a minute just coming up onto the clock, they'll be fine to reset and come back in. So, not a huge amount there, but also not a huge amount of invested for Loud, right? They'll get some vision control down on that top side. They'll spot out with the red is going to happen if maybe Levi's going to try and go for some sort of early gank in towards the mid lane, but at the moment you're just going to be able to back away, so not too much on either side really coming out there.
Yeah. Bit of vision, a little bit of early warding as such, but outside of that, not really a lot else. I mean, just count your minions. That's all you got to do, KHi. Yeah, he's going to make sure he definitely now realizes, like, wait a minute. But I mean, look, it's funny. It's like a little mini game that you have, obviously, with the Nico, and we'll be keeping an eye on that for it. But obviously, coming into this game, I love what GAM have built up for themselves. Demacian Hot Pot is what I like to call it there, with the Cataclysm into the Equalizer. You add in a little bit of Pilt over Spice as well with the Orianna Shockwave. That's a massive wombo combo if you get caught.
And honestly, why, like we were talking before the game, saying, look, Croc probably should have taken the Jarvan.
Yep.
I mean, you get good luck up for the Ori and the Isaiah. You're able to set yourself up. Slater will get a little bit of a hit here, but Paladin able to keep things in check. But honestly, I think you're setting up so nicely here for GAM. Like, Root's going to struggle with that. Tin Owns is going to struggle with that as well. Now, at least you do have a good amount of counter engage, like from Tin Owns yourself. But hold on.
Level 2 does get hit. The Ignite goes down, but I feel like Slater really wanted to fully commit to that. Now they can fully turn back on. Oh, Slater goes fully in, but I don't know if he's going to be able to get killed down. I think Root should be able to walk away. And that's going to be just a nice little turnaround. It felt like GAM could have had it, but Loud are the ones with first blood.
Yeah, once the level 2 was hit from Loud, Slater wasn't really following up from Pallet. Not really the communication there to be like, hey, I really want to go for this. Now, Slater does try and follow up with the flash himself, but no damage. Seos gets the kill himself, and Loud already on the board.
Seos getting himself that first blood. Now Wave's in such a terrible position for GAM as well. It's really going to be difficult to kind of get that one back, but still advantage for Loud to get in the bot lane. And it all came from GAM being very, very over-aggressive. We'll see what they can use with that a little bit later on.
But I'm also keeping my eyes in the jungle because both flashes were burnt by GAM in this one. So we see it here, right? Pallet does go forward. Great flash, great setup, but Slater not really in a position to follow up as he was trying to take the last CS. So Seos goes in, you get the proc of the passive from Pallet, and it's good damage turnaround from Slater, but not enough left in the tank then to try and finish this out. So Root gets the walk out, just burning the pot. So you have both flashes now still on Loud. And look at where Croc is. He's already started to move back down towards his bot side. I think he's going to be looking for a gank.
Yeah, I 100% expect him to be able to do that, but this will be interesting to see now if you give the respect you need. GAM need to be very aware. This wave state is so painful. Yeah, like, I mean, and there's nothing they can do. They know they have to just stand backwards because if they walk any way forward, it's a 2-level difference between Croc and the bot lane.
Yeah, and Jarvan's already in the top side. He wants to look for a dive to see if he can counteract this play in the bot lane.
Yeah, they're going to try and see if they can go for a full dive here. It'll be difficult going up against Robo, but they're going to be able to get him fully taken in. Good flash there by KHi. Now they get themselves out on bot side. So GAM, not to be outdone, they will unfortunately still have a bad time bot, but at least they're making something else happen around the map.
Yeah, Seos had to burn his flash to try and make that happen, though wasn't quite able to get there. Gets the cleanse out of Slater. But on the top side, as you said, like Levi, managing to follow that flash from Robo with his own flash, gets the kill and sets up nicely. So at least for GAM, they're still getting some pressure on the map.
A little bit of pressure, and keeping that Renekton down is always a nice little thing. Let's have a look at the replay here, because again, it's just clean, really nicely done there, waiting for as much time as they possibly can.
Yeah, Robo's trying to clear out the wave here. That's where he goes, and then flashes in, but Levi, good reactions with his own flash to follow through on the flag and drag. And then we get the look at Boss. Pallet hooks out, Slater gets knocked up, but you can see the cleanse comes through. He gets to walk out. Good block from Pallet anyway, so didn't really need to use that cleanse, but either way, GAM are able to get away from that one on the bottom.
Yeah, we see them now going a bit aggressive on that top side. Still a bit of damage here, but yeah, I was going to say, I don't think the Renekton really wants this one here. The flash forward, he gets overheated, he has enough damage! And that top lane matchup is really going in favor of GAM now. Croc trying to equalize it out, he flashes forward just to confirm it, and will be able to trade it back 2 for 2 on the board.
Tinone's now up here though as well, just to make sure they can try and catch that wave, but really nice job there from KHi now. Zeus, Pallet, level advantage over towards Loud. Even Slater still level 2 on this one and just ticks over to level 3. This wave finally crashing in means he'll be able to pick up a bit, but a lot of damage already done. You can see nearly 40 CS to 11 on the spot side.
Yeah, I mean, look, the featured matchup presented by Mercedes-Benz, it is still Robo and KHi, and I think right now KHi is having a much better time of it, so we'll see how that really affects the game, because the Rumble in the mid-game with those equalizers can just completely take over.
The big question mark for me is how this starts to come through at level 8. You have KHi, who's very much in control of this matchup, and if he can then lean that in towards the Rift Herald, that's going to be fantastic. But one of the big things that I've seen is kind of how GAM tend to fumble their first Rift Herald play. They'll try and send KHi, who has TP, down to that bot side, but he's oftentimes either, well, doesn't have his TP up and available, or is late on the reset, and Slater and Pallet then aren't in a position to try and go for that Rift Herald as well, and it gives the opportunity for the enemy team to set up, find kills, find opportunities. So especially against a team like Loud, where you know they're most threatening post 20 minutes, having those first 15 minutes confirmed in your direction are the best way to try and go against this team.
With those first 6 minutes have been pretty equal. A little bit of an advantage there for Loud. Very much centralized into Root and the CS lead at about 20 or so, maybe 15 after these minions do end up getting taken out. But this is a game or a series that Loud will be feeling fairly confident in. It's a series they should be able to come out with a win and keep themselves in that upper bracket. That's the big thing right now, is that with the double elimination, you're not done and buried, but getting yourself that extra little life is so key.
And for Loud, it's going up against PSG Talon as well, who knocked them out of MSI, trying to see if they can find that rematch. But GAM, they're no pushovers here. Like, seriously, this has been a great early game for them. They've got good control. I mean, bot lane is definitely going to be an issue for them. It's just going to be a case of if Levi can try and find that success to skirmish around the top side. You can see Loud kind of realizing that, like, we will take this dragon nice and early, make sure we're able to set ourselves up for success, whereas GAM are trying to play towards their own strong side, which is the top half.
Yeah, and I think the big thing as well is that this is just really smart there from Croc as well, just saying, look, we have massive pressure bot side, let's just get the dragon, start that stacking early.
I'm curious if they actually go for the dive on the top side here. Like, you can see that Levi's in position, KHi has ult, level 6 for Robo means it might be a bit difficult, but I mean, getting something going as this Reptile is about to spawn is going to be great.
See whether they want to try and put that priority. Levi hasn't really been bot lane at all. He came bot just to kind of hover a little bit, but outside of that didn't really do much else. Seos jumps in, Root gets rooted, but outside of that it's just going to be pain, unfortunately, for Slater and Pallet. They're not really going to be able to kind of get much of a kill priority. I mean, Serrated Dirk in the difference right now between Root and Slater makes it so difficult for him to walk up. And you can see here, he's just taking a fight because he knows he can kind of go for it. Even with the Root coming out, it's still very much, you know, LLL coming out on top.
Yeah, just about. It is a little bit more cautious because as that minion wave comes in, a lot of the damage is gone from the Q, so we'll have...
Oh! Flashing, get the W, and now we can see a bit of a move on the top side. The equalizer not going to be utilized just yet. KHi knows he's dead. And that's just KHi not really in position to help because Levi was on the dragon, or sorry, on the Rift Herald. Now the Pop Blossom come out. They're going to get a flash out from the Orianna, and everyone's a little bit isolated. Do they get the Rift Herald? That is the question. Levi's going to have to flash away. He'll get the kill onto the Rift Herald, but he won't be able to collect the die.
Big wins for Loud. Kill on the top side onto KHi that goes over towards Robo. The kill on bot side coming through from Root as well. Like, Root has been so good at getting these solo kills in lane, and now once more picking up those solo kills once more when it gets to the world stage.
Loud really coming up trumps right now, getting that kill on the top side, and it was just a load of disconnected efforts from the side of GAM. This one was just straight up Root saying, I'm stronger, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, I thought he might flash forward initially to try and get more Q isolated, but we're into the fight. KHi's gone.
KHi is dead. Root picks up his second kill. He's got an Umbral Glaive first item, so he is so powerful right now, and he is not wasting any time making people know about it.
This is one of the big changes we've seen to the build path coming through from the KHi, where it's like, I'll go for the Umbral Glaive first, get serrated, get access to that Q evolve as well. But it's such an early spike with this Umbral Glaive as well, because it's such a cheap item that you can actually play very aggressive in lane. But I mean, KHi just not realizing Seus was there, tries to interrupt the back, and Seus immediately flashing in. He knows the flash was already burnt in that Rift Herald fight, and KHi gets caught out for it.
Yeah, that was just a little bit unfortunate there, just not recognizing where everyone was on the map, and that's why you need to have tabs as much as you possibly can. But I mean, this bot lane advantage is just skyrocketing.
But the problem is that, like, the top lane advantage the GAM had, they couldn't really play through. Like, Croc did a good job of getting in there with Robo as GAM was trying to set up for the Rift Herald fights, and we said, hey look, the big thing I want to focus on is how do GAM set up for the first Rift Herald. They fumble it here, they give the advantages to Loud, and now Loud are starting to slowly but surely gain more and more pressure off of that. So I think this is where Loud, as long as they can keep this up, are going to be in a good spot. They crash this wave on bot, should be able to back away before Levi can really get in a position to do anything, and may even try and push their advantage to like deep vision here in the bot side jungle, although going to back off, it looks like, for the moment.
And as well as that, like, you know, just having the fact that Root goes the Umbral Glaive, obviously that's the new build path, but Umbral Glaive is just, one, so cheap, but two, so effective, not even just in the stats, but it's from its active as well, clearing out vision, constantly having priority, and, you know, anyone looks for a like, sneaky little TP play, or, you know, a Jarvan trying to sneak into the side of the river, they're just not going to be able to get it.
Yeah, and it just, as you say, trying to control that bot side becomes a hell of a lot easier, but again, like you can see now, 2 kills to him, serrated dirt completed, like, and you haven't even got you got half an item completed towards Slater on the opposite side. Like, it is such an uneven fight. Like, Slater not only has his arms tied behind his back, he's probably got a foot at this stage as well. So for LLL, just try and continue to play around this bot side, bring Croc into the equation. Sales having that level 6 available can try and set up. Now it will be tough. Ult for Xayah, flash for Xayah, cleanse, but if you can burn those before like Dragon in 50 seconds, that makes things 10 times easier for this next fight.
Absolutely, and look, it's not as if GAM don't have ways back into it, but like you said, it's going to be tough. You've got plenty of AoE, you've got plenty of wombo combo, but to be able to get it, and this is exactly what we were talking about, Root's just able to walk up, constantly clear out the vision and say, look, you don't have a way of moving into this vision, and like, straight away, look at the damage, half his HP from a Q on an auto.
Yeah, Paladin definitely feeling the hurt a little bit from Root right now. And I mean, straight up, that's just going to give control towards Loud to actually go for a Dragon as it spawns here. Like, Root too low to really be the engage tool that you would like him to be, and maybe can try and follow up, but Levi's on top side. Vision control completely belongs to GAM on this bottom end of the map, and the support of Croc here for Seus at all points in time. How do you try and break this as GAM?
See if they can. Dragon does spawn as GAM now move their jungler and mid laner down towards this. They do have priority, but it's going to be neutralized now with that Nico just kind of keeping things going. But I mean, yeah, like just the damage profile available for Loud at the moment is just insane. Even having that Triforce is available to them as well just makes it so much harder. And yeah, you don't have any way of stopping this stack. And this is the thing as well, you started the stack so early, 7 minutes, you get the next one basically off spawn. You're looking at a 23, 24 minute Dragon Soul, and it's, you know, an Ocean Soul is nothing to be sniffed at.
Yeah, I mean, Croc has just been able to sneak in here and get so much of this. Now going to be able to pick up the blue buff basically in the face of Levi as well, because Seus...
dive. Slater is going to try and get this one going there. The feathers go flying. They've used nothing. They used literally a battle dance, and that was it. That was all they had to get. Yeah, they got a TP and an ult. Like, insane amounts of priority in this bot side for Loud.
And you can kind of tell, look, GAM feel like their backs are against the wall. Immediately the TP comes down to bot side to try and prevent it, but Loud never overextended. They don't use Seus' ult. You get pushing mid now to get a plate for Tin Owns as well, and this is the slow, calculated style that Loud tried to go for.
You do it again.
Yeah.
You just go for it again.
The cleanse is there this time, though, with the flash, so maybe a bit difficult.
They're going to try and commit into Croc, who does have to Heartbreaker himself out as the Nautilus ultimate was committed, but yeah, I mean, look, they're using so much just to keep Slater in this game.
You do need to be careful in this scenario though as Loud, because you don't really have a tanky member. Like, Croc isn't tanky, Seus isn't tanky, so if you go underneath that tower and there's multiple members of GAM there, you're going to know about it very, very quickly. So I do like that they just kind of backed off there, kind of bitten.
Oh, he's committing though, because he's got the Q, the isolation! And he gets himself the 4 procs on the auto attack as well. That's just too easy.
That's 2 solo kills.
Yeah.
For the AD carry. That's not how this game functions. You're supposed to at least put a shield down, Cruzeiro, so you look good. This is insane from Root. He is popping off in the early stages, and I mean, you heard the desk, right? Once Root's in a good spot, it's going to be fantastic. And right now, he is looking sublime.
And the great thing about it as well is that Loud are kind of working around him and working around the kind of win condition that he has presented as we kind of look at the MasterCard lane economy snapshot. And yeah, I mean, 2100 is just an insane number to be hit. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's insane. He is the gold lead. Like, he is all of the gold lead from the bot side. But as I was saying, Loud are doing so well at accommodating that as well, because Rabo's just kind of said, all right, cool, well, I'm not the carry. All I have to do is survive. Marble Morty, straight away. I'm not going to be in team fights. We're not looking to team fight right now, so I'm not worried about having that big gore drinker for those big fights.
Yeah, it's just absolutely absurd. And again, what do you try and respond with is GAM? Like, we've had Levi try and get into different positions, but top lane fell apart. Rubber's been playing relatively safe. They hasn't really tried to get into mid lane, which I thought maybe was an option, but realistically, Seos has kind of been beaten to the punch in that position, and he's been kicked out of his bot side. So trying to find angles of attack into mid lane just isn't really happening right now.
No, it is not. The one thing I will say that's going in GAM's favor for now is that it's a very low attack range in terms of actually sieging down a turret. So taking the turret is actually quite difficult for the side of Loud. It will take multiple kills for them to be able to do it, but I mean, this is just a really smart little bit of plays. Like, if I land the W, we go in. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, immediately the damage comes down, and again, this is the strength of this new build. You get so much lethality early, you get so much damage early, and the Loud fans very happy to see that one come through.
They're looking strong, they're looking confident right now, and they're looking like a team who's ready to kind of put the pressure down.
They're a team that looks like they want that rematch against PSG Talent. Like, this is a team that got knocked out against them in MSI. I mean, even Croc has been playing under the name Son of Junja in Portuguese over in CB LOL. Like, PSG Talent have been living in these guys' heads. So for this is we want our revenge. We want to go up against PSG Talent and knock them out at Worlds and take that spot in the group stage.
Have a bit of to go for it, of course. Double elimination, this is the winner's side. So win this, you get yourself an opportunity to get yourself towards that final match, the qualification match, of course. And of course, we see it from the other side as well tomorrow. But this first group is definitely starting to heat up just a little bit. And look, for GAM, expectations for the VCS, they were kind of the second tier of teams. They were always kind of touted as this team that we would, or this region that would always be able to kind of bounce back. Yes, it was a very unfortunate time where they couldn't really go to internationals, but we always kind of said that they would be able to do it. Right now, they are very firmly on the back foot, nearly 3,500 gold down.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been the aggression that we always talk about from Vietnam. It's just been unfortunate that, I mean, Seos and Root got a good control of that bot lane early. Despite the fact KHi was able to get control over top side, that was kind of turned around by Croc. So I think GAM want to try and find these big team fights now where maybe they can lock down Root and Tin Owns, get that ultimate combo off with Levi, KHi and KHi. That's kind of their big way back into this, but it needs to land on the key members.
And the thing is, though, is that KHi was kind of moving down, cheating down, but it means that he left that top lane pretty much for free. Now, Pallet having to lose his flash because he's just not in a position to get caught like that. And little by little, bit by bit, Loud are just wrestling back control. They're not letting the side of GAM have a foothold.
Yeah, and you talk about, look, in a team fight, yes, Loud are very low range because you want to try and get a lot of the ultimates off, but you got good poke that can come through from Tin Owns, the W from Root as well. Like, there's a lot of damage that can come through quite quickly here, so you do have to be very, very careful. As now Riftshroud in mid lane sets up for the push, sets up for the control again, going in Loud's favor on that bot side jungle, and they rotate back towards the dragon. And I mean, you're a complete item down for Slater. You can't compete in these team fights if you can't get the wombo off.
And Robbo does exactly what Robbo needs to do. I'm on weak side. It's fine. We're going to back away. We get a tower, we get a dragon. There's nothing to do really outside of just walk away. If they get the tower, sure, it was an equal trade in their sense for the towers, but now you are on Ocean Soul Point at 18 minutes. That is a 23 Ocean Soul fight that you have to go for as GAM. If you let this Renekton Viego combination get themselves an Ocean Soul, they're never dying.
And in my professional opinion, Ocean, that sucks.
Yeah.
It's an awful place to be.
Is that the technical term, is it?
Yeah.
The legal term.
It's a bit of a whoopsie, as we say in the business. But
big oof, if you do want to say it. Like.
But it's also like, you got Root now, so basically the way this build works is you now go up towards an Asher's Tooth, so you end up in being able to get that AP damage into your build as well, a lot of that attack speed, and you're just in such a good spot. Like, this is so incredibly hard to try and operate off of now. And with Root this far accelerated, yes, this build kind of does play off of lethality and can't fall off, but I mean, it's not even 20 minutes into the game. He's 2.5, 3 kills. It's insane.
Yeah, it is. An immediate flash has to do like KHi, but he gets caught out anyway, and they go straight in with the assassination. KHi trying to save the tower if he can, but not really a lot else going for them. And Loud looking good right now, really starting to put down a serious performance.
I mean, oh no, Slater, no.
He's going to lose his cleanse, won't lose anything else, but I mean, that's already just walking to the lane in arguably the safest position to go for. He wasn't cheating, he went the long way around and he still lost something.
Look, the only place that's safe for GAM is their own base, and Robo's just ignoring them.
They use the TP on the tower that's going down. Why are you doing this, GAM? You can't fight that. And they lose the Nautilus as well. Pallet becomes putty in their hand, and it's just win after win after win for Loud. They are looking solid.
Yeah, the entire top side belongs to them. Turret gone, jungle gone. I mean, Baron is up in 10 seconds, and honestly, that might be gone. Yeah. But this is super nice, right? Again, Robo is like, hey, I've got this Maw. I can just ignore the damage from KHi. KHi is forced to flash, but they know that Root's in a position to just follow up here. And again, like, look at the vision control that is in the jungle right now. There's so little to spot out these plays. But Loud know, hey, look, we actually have spotted Jarvan is starting to move to bot side. We can try and go for this play here. We own the top half of the jungle, so we know exactly what we're up against. Kill the tower, use the demolish, and there's just nothing that GAM can do in this scenario.
It's just little small mistakes from GAM as well. The TP coming in on an already dead turret, it just feels like it's just compounding it.
And you know what the terrifying thing is? This is the part of the game that Loud are better at. The post 20-minute mark is when they come alive, and KHi is feeling it.
KHi is feeling it. He's feeling the pressure as well. Double knockup comes in on top of it. They get the tangled barbs down. Levi forced to flash away. That's a TP coming in from the Rumble just to run away because he realizes he has no business being here. You have no reason to ever take these fights, and Loud are looking to put a serious marker down. They are coming for PSG.
Yeah, damn GAM, you do not want to be in these scenarios. Is KHi going to be able to walk away from that one? But he said it. Baron spawns. Loud is saying, hey, that looks nice and pretty. Well, let's go and take it.
What if we took all the buffs? What if we get the earliest soul we could possibly think of and then take a Baron off, basically off spawn?
Yeah, basically Loud say, can we have it? And GAM just have to say yes.
Yeah.
There is nothing they can do to get out of way from their base. Like, that mid lane turret is holding on with a struggle, because the second you step up, you're going to have so many different flank opportunities that come in behind them. And here again, like, GAM are all kind of set up to go, hey, we can try and keep this safe. But KHi separates for a second. Croc takes his chance. Pallet uses the hook thinking there might be a flash over the wall and trying to preempt it, but ends up meaning that he doesn't have his hook up and available. And then again, Loud collapsing quicker, in a better position. Slater not really there because he's trying to clear a mid-wave, and Loud are able to follow up nice and easy.
And this has just started from the get-go by Loud. This is Loud turned around and said, bot lane is our priority as they come out with the Red Bull Baron power play, but bot lane is their priority. Root is their carry, and this guy is doing so well with giving that responsibility.
I mean, this game is sheer bot lane diff.
Yeah.
The level 1 and level 2 going as wrong as it did for Slater and Pallet gave the freeze. Croc was in a position to just continue letting Root and Saeus have that freeze. Root getting 2 solo kills in the bot lane as well. Like, it has not been a good look coming through for the GAM bot lane.
Now you have 30 seconds for GAM to kind of fight against this Ocean Soul. Now, I will say it's one of the souls that people tend to kind of go, look, we don't have to fight it, but I mean, you gotta go for something here. Like, you're looking at a 3-item Kaisa here for Root. He has just been insane right now. 3-0-5. Just a monster in his own right. Level 14, like, he's the same level as KHi in the top side. He's the same level as a solo laner.
Yeah, I mean, the kills and assists will do that for you. And Loud, they kind of know that they're in a great position. Siege up here on bot side, they have a lot of opportunities to try and escape away. Like Saeus, very difficult to lock down. Croc, because the ultimate, kind of difficult to lock down. So they're just going to let TNONs push in mid. And I thought he was going to look for the mid turret, but looks like they want to try and take a fight as GAM are a bit far away from safety.
Yeah, GAM will not have many places to run if they do get caught, and you can see there Pallet recognizing that and just kind of throws a hook away. I mean, you got to go for something. TP back into the fight is going to be Robbo off to the side. He's looking for a master flank. They do get a hook on, but it's only on Seos, so the Rakan's going to be able to walk away. Doesn't even use any of his cooldowns. They're looking for something. They're waiting for something, but that something is just not going to happen. And now they're getting turned on because they realize they've overstepped. Robbo's on a flank, and they can start to pinch in. The Equalizer comes down to try and stop anyone from moving in, but Robbo just gets himself into the stopwatch. The Pot Blossom and TNONs signs the death warrant here with the ultimate. Loud get everything. GAM have nothing, and this game is all but over.
TNONs goes kaboom and shuts out GAM in this one. The push on bot side is going to be the death knell coming through as Seos just being a nuisance, just being annoying as they will continue to push forward.
Continuing with a push, they'll get it on all lanes. They might not end the game just yet, but they've still got Baron for 10 seconds. They are going to do some serious damage right now. They'll get themselves at least 2 inhibitors, and honestly, they can go back, reset, spend all the gold, put your T's down, dot your I's. You've got all the time in the world, and you have all the advantages as well.
Yeah, there's just nothing left for you here, GAM. I'm sorry for you, but when the early game goes this disastrously on bot lane, when Croc's able to correct the lane and top side, there is zero that can be done, and your entire jungle will go with it as well. It's only a matter of time until Loud coordinate themselves on top side, but this was brilliant. Like, Robo ended up in a position where he's able to get the flank, he's corralling GAM into a perfect position. Levi overextends, trying to see if he can get a steal, but isn't in a position. Robo over the wall into panic, but watch TNONs, out of vision, nobody knows as TNONs goes in and sets up beautifully for Loud.
And what just Robbo again, who's part of our Mercedes-Benz featured matchup, is that he just goes in going, I have a stopwatch. It doesn't matter if they all try and turn and burn on me because I'm going to be able to delay it. And that's exactly, it was the perfect bait. And it's exactly what happened. But I mean, yeah, look, Root's having an absolutely exceptional game, and even has a stopwatch as well to keep him from dying should he even ever get caught.
Yeah, I mean, this is Root having